As we continue our series on love, I had to include what I have come to understand is one of the most selfless acts of love I've known or practiced: detachment. I think so many things keep us from living our best lives, and when I say living our best lives, I mean loving ourselves and loving others. Now, when I say loving ourselves, you have a better idea of what I'm talking about. Tender, nurturing, extending grace to ourselves, attending to our very own needs, learning to care for our inner child, coping well, truly caring for ourselves, body, soul, and spirit. Not just going for a mani-pedi. Are you hearing me? And then, after learning to love ourselves that way, then and only then can we truly love others the way we should, the way we want to, the way we need to. Loving others. It seems to be put first on most people's lists. Quite a virtuous life, loving others. But how does it go? Oh yeah, love your neighbor as yourself. As yourself, meaning yourself, then love your neighbors. But here's what I see most often. I see that rather than care for ourselves, we are attached to, enmeshed with, intertwined with, over-concerned about others and their outcomes. Actually, we're over-concerned about outcomes about everything. We don't want to say it because it doesn't sound so good, but the truth is that we really would like to just control everyone and everything around us. That doesn't sound like love, but that's what we do. We want our spouses to do what we want them to do. We want our children to be who we want them to be. Our grandchildren to love us better than their parents did. Our siblings to act like we want them to act. Our parents to love us like we want them to love us. Our coworkers to be just like us. Our friends to be there for us and just support us all the time. And we want the weather to be what we want the weather to be. And we want the cars to move around like we want the cars to move. The schedules of everyone around us to fit into our lives. The family gatherings to look just like we want them to look. We have expectations about people, places, and things. We want to control the whole world. Anybody? And why? Well, somehow we believe that if everyone did exactly what we wanted them to do, and things turned out the way we wanted them to turn out, then life would be better. And then we could experience more love. Another way to look at it, we want to play God. That's hard. Here's what happens in the process. We're so busy and concerned about everyone else and everything else, we don't take care of the only thing we can control, ourselves. Period. And the reason I say the closest word to detachment is love, real love lets go. Real love embraces detachment because we don't need another person to be a certain way to love them. We just love them. One of my greatest challenges and exciting changes has been learning and embracing detachment. Detachment is a word that wasn't so easy for me to relate to. I understood letting go, but detachment was a bigger and deeper word that felt unloving at times. What I've discovered as I've learned to detach is that it's the most loving thing we can do. In fact, it hurts. It's so loving. One of the best expressions of our love for others is to show support and concern, but remain distant from the problems someone else needs to resolve. We all come onto this earth with assignments that are meant just for us. When we step into and try to control a person or an outcome, we are interrupting the very assignment that person has been given. I don't want to do this to my son. I love him too much. I don't want to do this to my husband. I want him to grow in the ways only he can grow, doing his work for his own reasons. And I don't want someone to do that for me. If someone would have come and tried to take away my pain in the last few years and would have prevented me from the healing and the growth and the changing, that would have been horrible. I'm so thankful that people loved me enough to allow me to grow. We all have an assignment, every one of us. Detachment means we learn to believe that our best efforts on behalf of anyone, anywhere, might be a simple hope or a prayer that they will be able to listen to the inner guidance that is surely available to them and available to us too. Wanting to be necessary to others is a form of codependency. It's not in anyone's best interests. No one grows when that is the intent of our interactions. You've heard me say there's two kinds of business, my business and none of my business. Imagine how full and healthy our lives would be if we allowed others to live their lives and we focused our very best on taking care of ourselves. Detachment. It's stepping back from experiences in order to allow God to do his part. Detachment is making no one a project. I've been on either end of this one and it stunted my growth. Detachment means giving up outcomes. That's such a big one. Detachment is an acquired habit. Oh, how acquired. Detachment is surrender. It's the opposite of judgment. Detachment is letting go of fears of others' behavior. Detachment is freedom from relying on others to complete our lives. Detachment is a swift and beautiful way of showing unconditional love. Here's the thing. Detachment doesn't mean lack of caring. It's caring to the max. It's really loving someone. It's praying without ceasing. It's coming alongside people we love, offering advice when they ask. It's being there for people when the load gets too heavy, all while not carrying the responsibility of the job they're meant to carry. Detach. I didn't choose the word because I'm good at it. I chose the word because I'm desperate to understand it and practice it in the most important relationships in my life. Detach from my son so he grows into the most outstanding young man ever because of the trials he faces. Because we all know, right, that we turn into the best versions of ourselves through trials. I owe that to him. I owe that to my daughter-in-law. To be the best version of themselves through his work and his assignment on this earth. Detach from my husband so that he might go on his own spiritual journey to find his best self. Detach from my siblings so they might find freedom through their own path as they walk. Detach from my friends at the Healthy Way so they'll do the work for themselves and not for me or anyone else. Detachment, it's pure love. It's a beautiful way to continue to take care of the things that you are responsible for and let go of the things that you're not. Detachment It sounds something like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. For those of you who can relate and feel like you want to explore this for yourself, I have a couple of books I highly recommend that you get added to your basket of daily reading. One, The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie, and two, Let Go Now by Karen Casey. Highly recommend the books. Detachment. It's love, plain and simple. It's trusting God to be God. It's understanding that loving someone isn't handicapping them by interrupting their growth. It's allowing them to grow and struggle and move through this life and become all they were meant to be. And while all that's happening, you are taking care of and loving and nurturing the person that you have more time to take care of now. And that is yourself. Detachment. Closest thing I can think of to love. We'll talk to you later.